Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to ACS Sneakers. My name is Aiden. On today's video, we are taking a look at the Jordan 12 in the Indigo colourway. Before we get into that, if you saw my last video, you'll know that we was on the cusp of achieving 600 subscribers, and thanks to you guys, we've smashed that 600 subscriber milestone. So to my returning viewers, thank you once again for continuing to support me and the channel. And for any new viewers, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, hitting that bell notification. We do release brand new content each and every week. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the intro. Initially releasing on August 22nd for a retail price of £165, let's go ahead and take a look at the box. And here we go guys, I now have the box in hand, and of late we've definitely had the chance to take a look at quite a few interesting shoe boxes, and this is definitely another to add to that collection. I'm a huge fan of the overall aesthetic look of this box with the white gloss and the indigo paint splat in the centre. Now I do believe that the paint splat is a perfect representation on the actual colourway of this shoe, but more on that later on in the video. And within the paint splat you can see that we have this complete white Jumpman logo. If we now take a quick look at the label on the box, which reads Air Jordan 12 Retro in the Stone Blue, Legend Blue colourway. Now it is quite interesting that they don't actually reference indigo on the label of the box. And on the back portion of the box, it does actually state quality inspired by the greatest player ever. And for me, that's unquestionably undeniable. Now if we take a quick look inside the box itself, here we get this little card. Now this is actually the very first time I've ever had a card inside one of these boxes, so I was really excited to get this. It reads, "The beauty of imperfection fades to perfection. Indigo is amongst the oldest dyes to be used for textile dyeing and printing. The oldest known fabric dyed indigo dates back more than 6,000 years ago. No two pieces are alike. We embrace these differences. With time and use, the depth and fade of the indigo will reveal a look that's unique to you." Now, I really do like this feature, and I actually hope they do start to include these in, more releases in the future. So now let's go ahead and get into the rest of my review. And here we go guys, I now have the shoe in hand, and my first thought is that this colourway definitely takes inspiration from the original Obsidian colourway. Now for me, I've never actually had the Obsidian in hand, so there's probably lots of little details and even some major details that I'm probably not noticing that do set these two colourways apart. But for me, just at first glance, this definitely has that Obsidian vibe. So if we go ahead and start from the toes up, you can see that we have this heightened panelling. On both the lateral and medial side of the shoe, we have this pristine white leather. Now, I'll always be the first to say about the quality of leather on the Jordan models never being really up to scratch. But however, this particular cut of leather is extremely soft underhand. It almost has a buttery smooth texture, and I'm really impressed with how this looks and feels. I do also find it extremely interesting to note that this leather doesn't actually have any texturing like grained leather or, pre-tumbled leather. It's just a complete cut of leather that you have used, and I think it looks exceptional in my opinion. I'm a huge fan of how this looks and feels, and I think it definitely has some premium qualities to it. So if we now go ahead and take a look at the mudguard, which can also be seen throughout the midfoot, you can see that we have this classic OG lizard pattern on that classic white grain leather. So if we now go ahead and take a look throughout the centre of the shoe, starting out with the toe box area and extending through the upper of the shoe, we have this indigo dyed leather. I really do like how this looks and feels. It definitely, for me anyway, has very nice texture, and I think they've done an exceptional job with the stitching. Now, based on some research that I did prior to uploading this video, I have been led to believe that over time, the indigo dye is actually going to change. Very similar to that of a pair of jeans. When you do start to wear them in, they do start to change colour gradually and start to give you that one-of-one pair of jeans. I do see the same happening with this shoe. So the more you wear it and the more times you actually break them out of the box, it is actually going to give you that one-of-one shoe. And I really can't wait to see how this shoe looks in a few months' time. With that said, I don't think there's anything underneath the paint, so please don't try and scratch anything off. There's nothing I can feel underneath. So it is just a case of wearing your shoes, which, I'm all for. I'm all for wearing your shoes. They're such an expensive commodity that I do want to see everybody getting the most out of them. So if you do have this shoe, go ahead, rock it as much as possible. Customize this shoe to represent how you live. And I can't wait to see some of your guys' pictures of your shoe in a few months' time. I'll definitely be looking to do an updated video to let you guys know how this shoe looks. So if we now go ahead and take a look at the midsole on the shoe, we have a pristine white Phylon midsole with the Jumpman branding on the lateral side of the midfoot. Switching to the outsole of the shoe, we have this carbon fibre spring plate alongside the herringbone traction. Now, I for one am a huge fan of the outsole on this shoe. It actually reminds me a lot of some of the other Jordan models that we've taken a look at recently, including the Jordan 11. I really like when the outsole on the shoe has quite an extreme look, as this one does. For me, it just immediately pulls me in, and I really like how this looks in person. Even though when it's on feet, no one's really going to be able to see it, it's just something that I personally can really appreciate. Now, the outsole does also feature Zoom Air cushioning, which definitely adds to the shoe's overall comfort. As well, you can see that we have this Carolina blue Jumpman that initially starts underfoot and peels up ever so slightly onto the toe cap area. If you guys haven't already, please go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you never miss a video. Let's get back into it. And switching over now to the laces on the shoe, we have a complete set of Carolina blue laces, which for me definitely adds a nice pop of contrast. The laces sit atop a completely leather tongue, which features the 2-3 running down the centre. Now, this is actually the very first pair of Jordan 12s that I've had in my own personal collection, and I really do appreciate this feature on the shoe. If you've been collecting Jordan 12s for a long time, it probably doesn't make much of a difference for you, but this is the first time for me seeing it, and I really do like how this looks. If we take a quick look at the top of the tongue, we have a Carolina blue Jumpman embroidered into the centre of the tongue. Now, the laces are initially fed through the lace holders to begin with, but as we reach the top of the shoe, we have these silver eyelets. Now, to begin with, I did think they were comprised using a metal material, however, it definitely has a more plastic feeling in hand. For me personally, I'm not really impressed with how this feels. It does feel and look a little bit cheap when I actually look up close on this area of the shoe, and I'm really not sure how it's going to hold up with general wear and tear. This is definitely something I will be addressing in a future video. And now onto the sock liner of the shoe, we have once again this lighter Carolina blue sock liner, and the actual padding on the shoe isn't actually as soft as I initially had anticipated. Now, with this shoe being a high top, I actually felt like there would be a lot more padding around this heel counter area. There is a decent amount of padding, I can't lie, but it's not as padded as, say, the Jordan 3 model or even the Jordan 4. This shoe is still exceptionally comfortable to wear on feet. It's just a little bit disappointing that there isn't as much padding as I had initially thought. Taking a look now at the insole of the shoe, we have this complete indigo insole with a lighter blue Jumpman branding. And now to finish taking a look at the heel of the shoe, here we have the iconic Jordan 12 heel tab. At the very top of the heel tab, we have the Jumpman branding, and in the centre, we have Jordan, quality inspired by the greatest player ever. For me, once again, this is absolutely undeniable, and I really am a big fan of this touch. Underneath this, we have Jordan's iconic number 23. And that just about wraps up the overview of the shoe itself. So now let's go ahead and get into my opinions on the shoe. And now switching over to the most important aspect of any sneaker, and that would be the sneaker's comfortability. I did find the Jordan 12 exceptionally comfortable right out of the box, and for me, it didn't require any breaking in time. In terms of durability, this shoe does feel very well made, and I do see the shoe being very durable. However, I haven't had the shoe long enough to be able to test out its full durability. In an updated video at a later date, I'm sure I'll be able to give you a much more precise answer. In terms of sizing, personally for me, I did feel that this shoe ran true to size. However, that's not necessarily the case for everybody. As I've mentioned pretty much throughout my videos on this channel, I do have quite wide feet, so I do like to have quite a little bit of room towards the toe area of the shoe, and for me that is going to be the most comfortable. So if you have wider feet like me, I would absolutely recommend going true to size, and if you do have a chance to try out the model before buying, I would highly recommend you do so, just so you can understand the best fit for you. And in terms of my overall opinion on the shoe itself, I do give the Jordan 12 in the Indigo colourway a solid 8 out of 10. I really am impressed with the overall quality on the shoe. With that said, I did find some QC problems, which, you know, is pretty much standard with Jordan these days. So that's not necessarily any different from a lot of the other releases that we do take a look at. I'm really surprised that there's pretty much no hype surrounding this release. It is such a nice colourway, something very easy to rock, and I'm really happy to have this in my own collection. But I would really love to know what you guys think as well, so please go ahead and drop me a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you guys think. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the shoe in more detail. Now I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who stuck around to this point in the video. Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, hitting that bell notification, and I hope to see you again in the next one.